Welcome to Open Hearts Conversations, the podcast where every conversation begins with an open heart. I am your host, Pumelele. In this podcast, we explore the beautiful complexities of life through open, honest, and vulnerable discussions. Here, I hope that you feel heard, seen, and held. Thank you for being part of this community. Enjoy the episode. Hi friends, hi family. Welcome back to another episode of Open Hearts Conversations. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being here. I am always so grateful for each and every person who listens to this podcast. Thank you for taking the time to be here with me. I do want to apologize today for my voice. I have a bit of a flu, so I haven't been feeling too great lately because Cape Town is very cold lately. It's been cold, it's been gloomy, it's been raining and all the things. So yeah, I just want to apologize just for the state of my voice right now. But yeah, I should be good soon, I hope. I hope that you're fine. I hope that everything with you is going well and it's great. And I hope that this episode finds you in a really good space. And yeah, so today is the 9th of August. It is Women's Day in South Africa, and I want to do something special in today's episode. I'm going to unpack about womanhood and what it means to me. I'm going to touch a little bit on the concept of safety as a young Black woman in South Africa. I also want to explore a bit about generational cycles and how that has shaped, what my understanding of womanhood has been, as a young person growing up to be a woman. So yeah, let's get into today's episode. Right, so growing up, I was surrounded by mostly women, as you should know if you listened to the very first episode. And it was very strong women who, I grew up around. It was my mom, my grandmother, my aunts as well. And these were people who were incredible nurturers, and they also worked very hard to support, us and, just the family in general. So you might say that they were the backbone and the heart of our of our family. I've always experienced them to be people who were always giving, people who were always doing things and always sacrificing themselves for the betterment of others, and others being us, their children. This is the sort of environment in which I grew up, and this is the upbringing that shaped, my life and my very early understanding of what it is and what it means to be a woman. So from very young, I learned that to be a woman is to be, a hard worker. You needed to be a very resilient, and you needed to sacrifice yourself, for other people. And, as I reflect back, I didn't see much emphasis being placed on pleasure and enjoyment, being able to look after yourself. It's something that I always saw as an afterthought, as particularly with my mom. My mom was always putting other people first, I feel, and I always think that she sacrificed her life just for me and my siblings. And it's always been clear to me that her own needs were often really sidelined, and it was always like an afterthought. And so as a result, I think it is something that I have internalized, just this model of what it is to be a woman, and the idea of being strong and constantly doing and giving and sacrificing. So, now as someone who's in their late 20s, I find myself really realizing just how exhausted I am. And I shared this with my therapist not so long ago, that I feel really, really exhausted with the responsibility of life and all the responsibilities that I carry in the different roles that I play within my own life. And now as I think about it, I believe it is also generational. I think I carry with me just the many years and the the weight of self-sacrifice that runs in my family, of the women in my family who had to endure, and right now I feel that I'm at a point where I feel that it is my responsibility to break some of these cycles and really learn how to rest, how to prioritize my own self, how to take care of myself so that I don't burn myself out. And also maybe for the next generation, children of my own, if I ever have them, my brother's kids, if they ever have children, and so that they know how to really take care of themselves, because that is important as I'm learning as a young adult. So recently, I had a really profound conversation with a colleague, which was so affirming to me, the feedback that I received from her. She is someone who is older than me, closer to my mother's age, and she shared with me how she admires just my self-awareness as a young woman and the ability to recognize what is for me, or what's good for me, and what is not good for me. And also the ability for me to make a decision, based on that self-awareness. And this is a conversation that I feel made me realize that, maybe I'm on the right path, and maybe, I am doing something about something that I've been feeling a great responsibility over, and that my journey towards this being able to look after myself and breaking maybe these cycles is actually happening, and it's something that is important for me and also just for my family as well. So, for example, I'd say my mom is someone who has never really known how to rest. If I just think about my experience of her, and I've never seen her really intentionally take the time to truly relax. And that's something that I've always carried with me. I've always carried the responsibility of ensuring that she rests. Even now, I see this with myself as I grow older as well. Even when I do try and I rest, I feel a sense of guilt, or like a dis-ease of sorts. Like I'm not allowed to take that time for myself. If I'm rested and I'm not actively doing something, I'm thinking about something, or all the things that I'm supposed to be doing in that moment, and right now I am learning that if I want to be able to break this kind of cycle, I have to be very intentional about it as well. I have to make the commitment to be able to rest for myself. I need to make an intentional decision to take care of myself. And also I do this just not just for me, I do this for my family as well, and the people that will come after me, to experience a very different way of existing, a very different way of being. And it has to start here. It has to start with me, So, yeah, I'm learning to be very intentional about the concept of resting. And so, as we also navigate this concept of womanhood, we can't ignore the issue of safety and what it means for us, as particularly as a Black woman in South Africa. It's something that I think about constantly, and it's something that has come up for me in therapy, where I was asked about safety and what are the spaces where I feel safe? Like, where do I feel safe in my life? And it was a very difficult conversation to have, It's It's physical, it's emotional, it's financial, psychological safety. How do we create a safe space, for ourselves in this world that is, it's so hostile, if I can say, and it's a very difficult subject to take on. But for me, during this time, and as part of just my own journey and part of my healing journey, it's been also important to recognize that, it starts here internally within myself, and that means being able to set up boundaries and being able to be vocal and advocate for myself, for my own personal needs and what are the things that I need, being able to verbalize that. It's about understanding that I really do deserve safety, in all the areas of my life, financial, physical, emotional, psychological safety. Just as anybody else is able to have that, I also deserve that safety as well. And being able to acknowledge the challenges that come with this is, as well as, and being somebody who has been conditioned in this particular way. So in this way that I always have to put others first. So it has to be a conscious decision for me to be able to put myself first and my safety and my boundaries, creating a safe space is not something that is easy. It's something that we have to be conscious and be very intentional about. And there is a possibility, if we collectively are able to make that conscious effort to create that space, as a community for us, in order for us to feel safe. Womanhood is personal, and it is also universal because, it is shaped by many factors, our upbringing, the environment in which we live and exist in. It is shaped by experiences, and it also is something that we have the power to be able to define for ourselves. We have the ability to break the cycles that don't serve us in our families anymore. We are able to create spaces that are safe for ourselves and are nurturing and caring for ourselves. And we are then also able to influence the next generation and how they live their lives and how they prioritize themselves. So yeah, it is something incredibly beautiful to be a woman. It is also a great responsibility. Sometimes it is really heavy and it feels like a great responsibility. And sometimes it is something that is incredibly beautiful in just the way that we are able to navigate our world and how we can relate and connect with other people. It is something so, just so beautiful. It's hard to even describe in words. And so I hope that, you enjoy just your own personal journey. And I hope that your Women's Day has been nothing short of amazing. And I want to thank you truly for joining me in this conversation and just being here to listen. And I truly, really, truly appreciate you taking the time just to be here and reflect with me in this time. Thank you so much for just keeping your hearts open, and I hope that you take care of yourself, and love you. See you next time. Thank you. Thank you for listening to this open heart conversation. If you resonated with today's episode, please do subscribe and leave a 5-star rating, and also share this with others who might also benefit from it. So join the conversation on social media. I will leave my information in the show notes. I would love to hear your thoughts as well as your experiences. So until next time, keep your hearts open. Thank you. Love you. Bye.